Should I wear my daddy hat for this video? It feels very on brand. Today's an exciting video because I'm going to do my introduction into dark romance with you. Now, before I dive into this list that I have created, please know that dark romance is not for everybody, hence the title dark romance. There will be dark themes, which is why authors will put out disclaimers, content warnings, trigger warnings, whatever you want to call it. If you are somebody who is sensitive to darker topics, read your trigger warnings. That's what they're there for. And it's okay if it's not for you. This video is an introduction into different levels within dark romance, and I will go through some of the tropes with you and you can decide if that's for you or not. So let's start off at intermediate/beginners into dark romance. I am somebody who is not sensitive to many things, so I dove deep into dark romance very early on. However, I feel like I've read so much dark romance that I'm able to justify different levels of the darkness, if you want to call it that. So starting off, one of my favorite dark romance series to recommend to somebody who doesn't know if they're into the genre or if they, just want a little stepping stone to see if it's really for them. I always recommend the Never After series by Miss Emily McIntyre. These are books that are standalones, meaning you don't have to read all of them in order. They're all their own story. They are based off of, I call it Disney movies, but fairy tales, Disney movies with a dark twist. Starting the series off with Hooked. Again, you don't have to read these in order. You can read them separately, whatever you want to do. Hooked is a Peter Pan retelling with Wendy and Captain Hook. Then we have Scarred, which is a Lion King retelling, and it was giving Lion King 2 vibes. It's my favorite in the series. Then we have Wretched, which is a Wizard of Oz retelling. Then we have Twisted, which is an Aladdin retelling with Jasmine and Jafar. And then we have Crossed, which is a Hunchback of Notre Dame retelling, which is Esmeralda and Frollo. And then lastly, we have Hexed, which is a Little Mermaid retelling. And it is Prince Eric with Vanessa, who was the female version of Ursula from the movie. I devoured these books. They're all on Kindle Unlimited. I believe all of the books that I mentioned will be on Kindle Unlimited, but I'll make sure to say if they are or not. These books were so easily bingeable. The love and the romance and the spice was hitting, but it was such a fun little nostalgic twist on stories that we grew up with, but they are the perfect introduction into dark romance. Highly, highly, highly recommend her. And Emily McIntyre is a beautiful, wonderful soul, so gotta support my girl. The next book I'll recommend is actually a dark gothic romance, and it is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. If you ever had a crush on Snape from Harry Potter, this book will make you feel justified because Deverick Bramwell gives hot Snape vibes. Super broody, moody, mysterious, dark, and his presence is very intense. It's giving Snape vibes. In this book, we follow Lilia. She has always questioned a mysterious parasite that killed her mom when she was younger, and so she attends this university called Dracadia. And at Dracadia, one of the professors specifically covers and researches that specific type of parasite. And guess who the professor is? Deverick Bramwell. His professor's student, which is kind of taboo. It's typing into dark romance, taboo. Oh my god. The yearning and the spice in this book was unlike any other. It was so good. Also, really liked the audiobook. I would recommend it, and it is on Kindle Unlimited. Another book that I would consider pretty tame on the dark romance scale is actually a very popular book on Book Talk. It is called Lights Out by Nevesta Allen. In this book, we follow Josh and Allie. Allie is a trauma nurse who has a obsession with a masked man on TikTok. Then we have Josh, who is the roommate of her ex-situationship, who's obsessed with her, and also he has a secret identity, which is, guess what? That masked man on TikTok. It is a dark rom-com. It is so freaking funny. Please, please, please listen to the audiobook because Jacob Morgan knocked it out of the park with this one. It is so funny. Josh and Allie's banter, the way that Josh is just so delusional, it's so funny. Obviously, there are dark things that are mentioned in the book, but as far as dark romance goes, it's a very light, fluffy dark romance, I would say. Dark rom-com. Highly recommend it. All right, moving into more mid-tier dark romance. still easily digestible, bingeable. However, there are more questionable things, aka the MMCs being more morally black, morally gray, that kind of vibe. I will always, always, always recommend this series. You will hear me talk about it forever. Again, I talk about the series way more on my TikTok and Instagram if you want to follow those. They are my god tier. I talk about them all the time. Sorry, not sorry. But that's going to be the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent. The series is an interconnected standalone, meaning you could read them out of order if you would like to. There's not an overall arching plot throughout the series. Essentially, each book follows one couple, individual couples, and they all know each other. They're all within friend groups. There's 2 colleges within this series. King's University, which is essentially like generational wealthy British families. And then you have the American College, which is where the heathens attend, ruled by these 2 houses, which are kind of like fraternity houses. They're all coming from money, mind you. And each of these books have rivalries against each other. Now, the heathens, they like to throw an annual initiation night to get into their house, which entails you, if you're lucky enough to be able to attend the initiation, get to be chased by men of that house dressed in purge mask attire. If they catch you, they keep you. This series was so freaking good. The love and the chaos and the tension and just these psychotic men, chef's kiss. So freaking good. Multiple of my favorite MMCs are from this series. Landon King, Jeremy Volkov. I love Nikolai Sokolov. That's my soul sister. Like, we're like this. I love this series to my core. They will never be topped. Please read them. They are on Kindle Unlimited. The next series is another God tier series for me. It is kind of a similar vibe of following a group of guys and their love interest, but the storyline and the plot line is so beautifully done, and that's going to be the Hollow Boy series by Monty J. In each of these books, you do have to read them in order because there is an overall murder mystery that happens in the first book, and it goes all the way until the last book. It focuses on individual couples. My favorite, who's another one of my god tier MMCs, Rook Van Doren. He is in the second book. The way that Monty J writes their books is so beautifully done. It is poetic. You feel the angst and the yearning with these characters, the love. Even though our men are psychotic, they're psychotic just to protect their women. Are they questionable? Yeah, but they're hot about it, so it's okay. They are also available on Kindle Unlimited. And then the last series I'll recommend for the mid-tier would be the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. Again, similar vibe, group of guys, follow these group of guys and their love interests, and they also wear masks. Masks are hot. I don't make the rules. In the Devil's Night series, if you've watched the movie The Crow, you might be familiar with the whole Devil's Night, which is essentially the night before Halloween. We follow 4 guys in a college setting, college, outside of college, and how they pursue each of their women. And the storylines within the series are a little bit darker, I'd say, out of the 3 that I've mentioned, but they're unhinged, they're crazy, but a lot of the topics that Penelope covers in her books are emotional, like emotional damage, but also healing and beautiful. These MMCs, I would say, borderline more morally black, specifically Damon Torrance. They are worth reading, and we love a questionably morally gray, morally black man who will stop at nothing to protect the woman he loves. All right, getting into more master level dark romance. You can handle the trigger warnings. Content warnings don't scare you, blah, blah, blah. This is personally where my favorite line of dark romance happens. I don't know what that says about me, but start off strong with a series that I think is perfect to introduce you into a true morally black MMC. And that is the Cat and Mouse duet by H.D. Carlton, which is Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline. In this duet, we follow Adeline Riley, who is an author. She recently moves into her deceased grandmother's mansion, which is like this old Gothic mansion that lives like on the side of the hill. And she feels a presence of somebody watching her. And her grandmother mysteriously dies. But she finds letters like within the walls of this house, and her grandmother actually had a stalker, and she fell in love with her stalker. So while Adeline is trying to uncover the mystery of this relationship that her grandmother had not with her grandpa, she's also being stalked. And that stalker is Zade Meadows. Love him or hate him, Zade was iconic. He was my introduction into a stalker, and I will forever think of him when I think of Run. When I hear the word Run, I will automatically think of Zade Meadows, always. Zade is an example of a morally black MMC. He sees Adeline Riley at one of her author signings and immediately becomes obsessed with her and is like, yep, that's the one for me, and I'm gonna stop at nothing to have her. Adeline is obviously like, whoa, dude, you need to leave, you know, does all of the things, calls the cops, gets the security camera and stuff. What she's not ready for is the fact that Zade is like a cyber freak. He's able to get into security systems. He's able to do all of that because of his backstory, which I won't spoil that in case you actually do want to read it, but the spice, the scenes, the iconic scenes in this duet, you cannot read dark romance and not read Haunting and Hunting Adeline. Sorry, I feel like it's just a milestone that you have to reach. I love Zade. A lot of people hate him, and that's okay. We all have our own opinions. Reading is subjective at the end of the day. I love Zade. Don't know what that says about me. Continue on the stalker train of morally black MMCs, I have another duet that is questionable, made me question a lot of things, and that is the Web of Silence duet by Miss Lee Rivers. This follows Malachi Vise and Olivia Vise. Now, this is a taboo dark romance. They are foster siblings, and we follow Olivia and Malachi. They are both adopted from a foster family at the same time, which I believe they were like 8 or 9 or something. And immediately Malachi is obsessed with Olivia. Malachi's mute. He only communicates through sign language, and he is possessive and obsessive specifically over Olivia. As the years go on, milestones happen, blah, blah, blah. Something happens, and it ultimately ends up with Malachi being in prison for 8 years. And in that time frame, Olivia does not speak to him, which sends him in a downward spiral. Gets out of prison and immediately goes to find her, aka stalking her, and he wears a gas mask. There's also spiders involved, and there's also a screwdriver. This is a questionable book series to like. It made me question a lot of things. And Malachi is a very questionable MMC, but I think he's misunderstood. Just know this is a dark one. Dark duet. But it is available on Kindle Unlimited. Staying on the Lee Rivers train, because Lee Rivers is my queen. I love her, everything she writes. I have to mention My Babies, my favorite dark romance trilogy of all time. The Edge of Darkness series. In this book, we follow Cade and Stacy. Cade and Stacy are friends, childhood friends to lovers, but it's also kind of a taboo because Cade is the twin of Stacy's best friend, Luciella. So it's best friend's brother. And we basically see from past to present when they meet, when they fall in love, when they fall out of love, they are now exes, and then all of the trauma that they go through throughout the series. You do not feel an ounce of happiness until literally the end of the series. But the yearning and the love that they have for one another, you know, the angst, the emotional and physical trauma that both of them go through, but at the end of the day, they love each other. Oh, nothing can top this series for me. This one's probably one of the darker ones that I will recommend. Please read your trigger warnings if you are easily sensitive. There are heavy topics in this tier. So please read your trigger warnings, and it is available on Kindle Unlimited. To spin off with the Edge of Darkness trilogy, there's also Psychotic Obsession, which is a book prior to the Edge of Darkness trilogy. We actually follow Tobias Mitchell, who is Cade's dad, and we get to see how their parents meet in the 20-year span before Tobias is in a psych ward. Tobias scared the crap out of me. He is one of those MMCs that actually scared me. I was falling in love with him, laughing, having a good time, and then at the flip of a switch, he would scare the crap out of me. This is a dark one. It is a not happily ever after. So worth reading, though. I love Tobias. He's one of my favorite MMCs of all time. The last two series that I will recommend, they are both by Lola King, and both of them were so dark, but so good. Starting off strong, we have the North Shores Stories series by Miss Lola King. It is in a college setting. It is interconnected standalones. We follow individual couples. Do you see the trend here? And each of these men in the books are morally black, morally questionable. We don't know why we like them, but we do. But the storylines are so good. Highly recommend it. Available on Kindle Unlimited. Last series that I'll recommend, which is also by Miss Lola King, is the Silver Falls University trilogy. You guys want morally black, questionable MMCs that are down bad, pathetic, on their knees for their women? You need to meet Ren Hunter and Achilles Duval. I'm forever changed. I'm forever changed. Now, are they morally questionable? Yeah. But are they down bad, pathetic for their women and will do absolutely anything and yearn for them? Yeah, at the same time. That is my list of my introduction into dark romance for you. Again, I talk about dark romance a lot more on my other platforms. So if you would like to see, daily updates on what I'm reading, what I recommend, I would suggest following me there. However, if you enjoyed my video, please like, subscribe. Let me know if you have read any of these books. Let me know if you do read any of these books, and I'll give you more recs on the next one.